I'm Rod Duff, your host.
And I'm producer Barbie.
And together,
we bring you our podcast,
Insights and Straight Talk. And with that, producer Barbie and I are out. And I'm back in. Barbie's actually, this is one of her, I was just telling Debbie there back in the green room, is one of her favorite subjects as well as mine, tequila and children. She, as you all know, she moved back to California to be with her first grandbaby, and second one actually is, I don't know how far away, but is coming as well. But we still work together and are excellent friends and, you know, compadres and compadres. And whoop, there she is. Very excited for the show. Yeah. That's Barbie right there, producer Barbie, and I knew it. So I'm going to bring on a young lady that's if you saw any of the advertising I sent out today on social media, you'll see an awesome story, an awesome accomplishment, and then we get to hear about the that style of famous Hollywood people joining in forces, and it seems to be a tequila thing. I'm going to ask Debbie about that, if that's a thing. So with that, Tequila Debbie. Hi.
Hi everyone. Hi. So excited to be here.
Yeah, we are too, man. We are too.
It's not even Tequila Tuesday.
Yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm. Maybe you want to do it again.
Okay.
On that day. So you heard a little bit about what we're talking about, and this is, you know, this 3 days in a row, I'm starting to get a little aggravated. Did you see, like, when I started talking, all of a sudden, like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 people jumped on. And as I continued to talk, we now have 3. So we got to get you chit-chatting here real quick with the knowledge and the goods, because I don't want to lose everybody here. Hey, Ronaldo. Hey, how are you? She's a very talented contributor. She's very talented in music and art and so forth like that. We've kind of gotten to know each other a little bit over the digital world. So, Debbie, let's get it. And by the way, I love Jalisco. I've been there several times, and it's crazy because it's obvious that it is the center of the world because of, you know, the attributes in that town, that region, with the way the cactus grows. But you see it there. I mean, every restaurant, just bottles and walls made of tequila. I mean, it is white, brown, you know, the different. So how did you get started in this?
You know, that's why I just wrote the book. So the brand Señor Rio Tequila is paying tribute to my father, and his nickname, Señor Rio, which means Mr. River, it stems from my maiden name, Rivera. So instead of Señor Rivera, they called him Señor Rio. And I didn't really know my dad growing up. I grew up on the south side of Chicago, and he wasn't around. My parents split when I was young. It happens. And he wasn't in my life for a long time. And later I moved to Arizona, which is where I reside now. And I get a call from him, and he wants to see me in Mexico.
You were in banking at that time, right? You were in banking finance at that time?
Yeah. So I was in real estate at the time.
Real estate. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. And I get this call out of the blue, and he's wanting to see me and have me fly to Mexico. And I wasn't sure I wanted to go because I hadn't seen or spoken to him in 3 decades. So I thought, you know, Dad, you're like 30 years too late. Yeah, I had that kind of a feel. And my boyfriend at the time, Jonathan, when I told him, he was like, your dad, he's alive. You want to go see him? And I thought, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. And Jonathan encouraged me.
That's a tough one.
He lost his dad. Yeah, when he was young. And so he said, you know what? Maybe he's sick. You know, maybe he's dying. You should go. And I looked at him and said, well, do you want to go with me? So we traveled to Mexico to see my dad. And, you know, it was just a emotional reunion, as you can imagine. We were kind of like strangers, or not even acquaintances, really. And then we sat at the kitchen table, and he pulled out a bottle of tequila, which is what you do. He's very hospitable in Mexico. And
absolutely
we started sipping this tequila with him. And it was a simple bottle with no label. And it went down so easy. Please, no judgment, but we drank the entire bottle. Just the three of us.
Hmm.
Just kind of
That's
navigating through life.
that's
Yeah.
a party right there.
And
But you
so,
were just sampling, right? You were just
we,
doing research, right?
we were
Right.
just getting to know one another. Sometimes people will call
Excellent.
tequila truth juice because, it can help break the ice. It literally did with us. It brought us together. We had this connection as a family. And he explained how he made this tequila. It was a process that went back 3 generations in the family. He never had the means or desire to bring it to the market. So it was kind of a moonshine, if you will. Well, lo and behold, the next day, Jonathan and I woke up without a headache or hangover and thought, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And so we decided we were going to take a leap of faith with my father's blessing and follow this family process and bring it to the marketplace. So that's kind of how I got into the biz. It was really, family, tradition, love, and a lot of prayers. Yeah.
I bet you more prayers than you ever had in your life, right?
Oh gosh, I always say
For a while.
follow your faith, right?
Absolutely.
And it can be very blind because you're just waiting. But I am here 16 years later. That's how long Senor Rio Tequila has been available on the market.
That's
And
great.
sadly, Jonathan and my dad, they are in heaven, or they'd be here too. But I really enjoy what I do. The brand is only available at Total Wine and More stores. So you can imagine it's not in other places. You're not going to find it in restaurants or bars. But if you go to Total Wine, it's there on the shelf. And we grow one bottle at a time. And that's why the book I wrote is titled One Bottle at a Time. And it's a love story too, because I met John when I was in real estate. I rang his doorbell, as I did. I rang a lot of doorbells and showing properties. So anyway, I wanted to share the story because most brands, they come out of a big corporate boardroom, or they are celebrity endorsed or owned or driven. But this one is truly love in a bottle. I mean, we were underdogs and still am. It's an industry that's growing, it's competitive, but based on, taste and presentation, if it were bad tequila, I'd be out of business.
Yeah. And you said a key phrase earlier. You woke up in the morning without your head on fire and without the hangover. That's a big deal because it does occur, I mean, you get that, and the older you get, the longer it takes. So that's an excellent selling point in all. Let's see. We got a couple questions coming in. I don't want to get too far behind, if you don't mind, because we do need to get into the women-owned aspect, the charity aspect. Those are really fascinating and awesome things. So we'll keep digging, but let's see if we can pull some color out of these questions.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So Debbie's story is so inspiring. How did you stay motivated through the tough times? Yeah, business. It's never easy.
Oh,
no matter what.
I have to say the first thing is just getting up and out of bed every day. You just have to tell yourself, hey, this happened yesterday, but today's going to be a better day. And really, that's it. Just getting up and having those, self-talks, if you want to call it that, because it's hard. There's times when you just want to throw in the towel. There's been times when I'm like, no, I'm going to go back to real estate. But at the same time, you have to have this, passion inside of you. And I'll get into what gets me out of bed every day. And as we brought up, it's a charity that I founded, helping children with special needs. And so that's really what fires me up, I think. And again, it's a legacy. It's tribute to my dad and now to my late husband, Jonathan. So I don't know. I tell myself, just do it. And I truly enjoy it. So if you're doing what you love, it doesn't feel like work. And yeah, maybe there's times you do get tired and you got to kind of drag yourself, but that's when things happen. I find when I don't want to do something, all of a sudden it's like, wow, this person just crossed my path, or this opportunity came before me. So it's just getting up every day and telling yourself, I got this. Yeah.
Yeah. And you use a key word here, and making your hobby or your love and calling it work is that kind of vibe or mentality that you're talking about right now. You know, it's and how many generations?
Well, I'm now fourth generation, so the process had gone back 3 generations. And I mean, I guess
saw that.
I was a crazy one that said, "Hey, maybe we can market this. Maybe we can bottle this and bring it out there." And so truly, when Jonathan and I put our heart, our soul, and all our cash and decided to do this, we were self-distributing. I mean, I was the door-to-door salesperson, going into
Now,
restaurants,
is all this?
bars, and liquor stores. Yeah. And then eventually
It's
we came
produced in
upon Bottled Wine.
Mexico. It's
Sorry,
produced
yeah.
in Mexico
Yes.
and distributed, as you're talking about now, through the United States, through the tools that you have with the
Yes.
wine.
So for the
Yeah.
last 10 years, it's been exclusive to Total Wine and More. But prior to that, when we were self-distributing, it was just, knocking on doors saying, "Hey, who orders your alcohol? I've got something I want you to try." And it was in the state of Arizona where we live. And
Good
now
place
it's
too.
yeah. I mean, it's a little hot in the summer, but Total Wine and More, if you haven't been to it, it's a truly, I mean, great retail liquor store, but so much more. They have a lot of knowledge in 24 states now, over 200 plus stores, a lot in California,
Wow.
Texas, all over the place. So you can go to any Total Wine store and ask for Senor Rio, and some of them will have bottles that are open and they'll let you try it. So where states allow the sampling, you can literally go in and say, "Hey, Debbie said," or you want to call me Tequila Debbie. And if you can remember Senor Rio, "Hey, Debbie said I could go in and have a sample of Senor Rio." And they may have the Blanco, Reposado, and Añejo, and we have a coffee tequila. So if they've got the bottles open, they'll let you try it. So it's a try before you buy.
I love it when you're talking or when an accent, when someone's talking and they're rolling their, that's such a beautiful sound. It is an incredible ticket. It grabs hold of you. What's the biggest challenge you faced building Senor Rio?
Oh, there was a lot of rejection. Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
Especially when we were self-distributing. I mean, it took us 5 years to turn a profit. So I literally was eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah. And, at points I was selling jewelry to, keep the lights on. And, you make so many sacrifices as an entrepreneur to keep your business going. And I don't know, I mean, there were so many challenges, but it was really believing in yourself and taking those no's as a, maybe just not now then. Okay, next. And that was it. Just having
Absolutely.
that momentum to continue on no matter what. Because there were, I call it a motorcycle ride that turned into a roller coaster that was scary and fun. And then, of course, when John passed from cancer and I had to just take the bull by the horns, people thought, "You can't do this by yourself." And I thought, I'm going to sure try.
Yeah. Great backstory and story of coming forward. It's as you may or may not know, our message here. And by the way, I am in Chicago now, and have spent basically most of my life between Chicago and California. That's where producer Barbie is. Yeah. What Chicago?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's great about it.
I mean, I'm born and raised there. I lived there for almost 40 years. And so
Near the city?
I was on the south side. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Midway,
You said that.
Midway Airport. And so, and going back to, middle class, the blue collar, the working hard,
Absolutely.
just, paycheck to paycheck. So I get it. I truly come from, I mean, I'm going to say a very diverse background, but at the same time, Chicago is a great place.
I feel what you're saying there. I feel what you're saying. I think both Barbie and I have lived those roller coaster rides in time. Beautiful story. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, so when I started the book and I didn't have a publishing company, and it was like looking on the internet, trying to find a publishing company. And then that's when I thought, I'm just going to start my own publishing company. So the name of the publishing company is Southside. So Southside Media
I didn't know that.
to represent.
I did a bunch
Southside
of research
Chicago.
too. Wow. Okay. Okay.
Yes, I
So
had worked with my graphic artist to do like a tree that's a little bit rooted, because that's where you're rooted from. Wherever you're born and raised, and you spent majority of your time.
oh yeah. Oh, that's gorgeous.
That's where you are from. I mean, granted, I've been in Arizona now over 20 years, and I've embraced the desert. But something about Chicago, yeah. I'll be heading back there next week. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Mhm.
I'll be here.
Okay.
So I totally get what you're saying and how that, and love the way the energy is coming across when you're talking about, what roots you, and obviously the message to the great middle class and the experience coming from there, and the entrepreneurship to come from there to get to there, which, to be honest, seems to be mostly what drive people. Their background, it becomes their engine while they're pushing their story, when they're pushing their business, their different assets. So I want to know about the South Side. What do you do? Is that just the podcast thing, or what is that?
No.
We got like 400 people.
When you author a book and you don't have a publishing company to say, hey, I'll give you, X amount of dollars. You have to have a publishing company to have a book. And so rather than find a publishing company, I thought, let me find out how you start a publishing company and, get it trademarked and set that up. So, maybe in the future, because I'm not going to retire for a long time, but maybe one day when I do, I can help people tell their stories, having this, or maybe, if I decide to write a second book, I don't know. I just thought, so when I was in real estate, I worked for companies, and then I decided one day, maybe I just want my own company. And then I started that. And then, with the tequila was, well, I don't want somebody to do this for me. Let's do everything ourselves and develop a brand and get our distributing license and get our importer's license. And, and it's more about just learning how to do things and maybe asking along the way, because obviously, you need legal advice and you need accounting advice and, people to help you, but it's like, try it. So, Southside Media. And my editor said, use the word media, because she's like, hey, maybe you want to get into doing other things like music, because it was going to just be Southside Publishing. And then she said, go with media, Southside Media. So that opens you up to other things. And I go, okay. So that's the name. Southside Media is the publishing house for the book, One Bottle at a Time, which is a true love story. And then it's paired with 50 Tequila Craft Cocktails. So as you read each story, there's a cocktail. So for instance, when I met John and I rang his doorbell, he's from New York and he was former bodybuilder. And I mean, he was he's so fit. I mean, people used to call his arms guns because they're so big. And they're tattooed, and he had this thick accent from New York. And I ended up selling his house to my clients. And I really thought he was a good fella. I thought he I don't know, was in Arizona because he was in the witness protection program, or, it's just crazy stuff that you concoct. So the first drink is called the Good Fella, because it's my impression of John based on his appearance when I first met him, but nowhere near that. He's, an accountant, a Fordham graduate. It was just that he was into bodybuilding and tattoos. So each story.
Fordham's a big
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So each story is weaved into a cocktail. So there's 50 stories about starting this company and all of the ups and downs and everything that it's like reading my diary, really, and having some killer cocktails, because I worked with a mixologist right here in Tucson, Arizona, Carlos Ruiz, who is renowned, because I thought, well, I can make cocktails, but they're not going to be that great. And he is an expert. So these are cocktails that are killer. So I said, I want to give value to the book. People can buy it because they want to make cocktails. People can buy it because they want to know the backstory behind the bottle or the love story. So it's really a part of my heart. And it took me 7 years to do it because I started writing it when John was going through chemo. And then I put it aside after his passing and I focused on building the company. And it really took 7 years for me to find the strength to decide to put it into a book and share it with everyone.
Yeah.
So it's a little scary. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I might be calling your publishing company coming up. I've got actually this podcast is based on I don't know. Are you a nonfiction? The book coming out?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so you have to build a platform because you're sending a proposal to somebody, and I started sending proposals out, but I had no platform. Finally, I decided to start this after motorcycle accident, a stroke. The motorcycle accident, I broke every bone on this side of my body. I was so all sorts of stuff was happening. I was supposed to die, but anyway, yeah, thank you. But at the end of the day, I can't get back to my darn book because this thing is like addicting. We did our first show on Constitution Day, September 17th last year, and we have like over 7,600 subscribers now, and so I kind of try and get back there.
People want to hear what you have to say.
I think they just get on to listen to you and producer Barbie, but I'll go with what you're saying there. So,
to circle back about your book, I'm just going to give you one little tidbit that I did because I was very busy. I mean, I run the company, everything from operations to marketing to being in the stores, and then I want to have a life. I have 7 grandchildren now, and so I try to find balance. And then the nonprofit is just like busy. And I started to just use my phone as my recorder. So what I wanted to write, I would speak and save that in my notes. So when you can't write, put the pen to paper, or you're not going to type on your laptop,
good idea.
Just use your, microphone on your phone and it'll type it for you. I mean, you can go back and correct or work on it, but at the same time, that's how I did a lot of it. I just kept talking into my phone, putting it in my notes, and then eventually condensing it and working from there to get it done.
Yeah,
so you've got the tool. Yeah.
And you just described an entrepreneur to the nth degree. The thinking of an entrepreneur. There's a challenge. How do I get it done? There's an opening. There's a need. How do I get? I mean, obviously, I would assume your family has always been kind of built in, and families are tight within the culture, which is always important. Not all cultures push that. So it's really cool how much you've done already. And if you were giving somebody some advice on beginning a brand, because you've done a couple of them already, or several of them, I think. And what advice would you give somebody that's starting to brand their company? I'm assuming not, John, I'm assuming you're not just talking about tequila, but any product, because you're branding a product. It happens to be tequila and personal and all that, but you've done I've checked out the different things you've done. You're excellent branding person.
Thank you. Everything takes time.
It does.
One step at a time. And it's not easy because depending on what type of brand it is, you're going to be competing in an arena that could be rather large, which is in my industry, tequila or spirits, alcohol in general. But the advice that I would give you is just, don't copy somebody else. Just do what's in your heart and never stop. I mean, really, you want to have a plan. So maybe, jot down the things that you want to do. You can make a list of pros and cons and make sure you do it every day. Just scratch something off that list. And building today is different because there's this social media. Everybody's heard of that. That really wasn't big, 16 years ago. I mean, it was out there, but not like it is today.
Yeah.
And just maybe, do some research on what it is you're bringing out. I didn't take any business classes or marketing classes. I've always been in the school of life. Just tell me how you do it. I'll give it a try or learn. Maybe talk to others as well. Get in some groups for entrepreneurs, and you could start with things, in your community through Chamber of Commerce, connections that way. But I would just say, you just got to give it your all. And I got to tell you, I don't stop, because even when I'm out, I was having a little minor surgery. And when the surgeon said to me, "Oh, by the way, Deb, what do you do?" Da, 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 da. He's like, "I'm going to buy a bottle." And everybody in the room was, because you talk about it. My daughter's like, "How did surgery go?" I go, "Great. They all know about Senor Rio." She's like, "Mom." I said,
it's
"I can't help it.
it's crazy, isn't it?
Too.
It's crazy, isn't it, man? When all of a sudden, and it's a simple slide, because when it's your passion, everywhere I go, I bring up insights and straight talk. So I get exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, it's a thing. I call it, maybe not the best word. I've become addicted to this. This is a passion. I literally you talked about how our marketing is different now today with social media and all that. I closed my last contract. I have a machinery business kind of winding down right now. I closed my last contract almost a month ago. But while we were talking, some of the friends in the industry, plastic injection molding, extrusion, all that stuff, machine tools and installation. But I was talking to some people towards the end of when they began to start spending more time on this. And the thing we said, this is what, a year and a half ago, as people are looking, there's going to have to be a whole new way to market. You can't just knock on doors or send emails anymore. And you're talking about a generation of people my age. And that whole new style is, as you just said, way completely different. It's amazing how these brands, social media wise, the competition you have in building a business through that, because that's where a lot of people in today's world, 40 and youngers, maybe some 40, but 45 and youngers, that's how they get their news. They get this, and you're dialed in. You're totally dialed in. When did you decide to take your father's recipe, the generations, and then turn that into your passion in your business? What, I know we already talked about this a little bit. Is there anything you want to dive in a little bit deeper for Allie?
Well, after our visit, we were in Mexico for a week, came back to Arizona, and it was during a time there was a lot going on in the real estate and the mortgage industry. People were losing their homes. It was really awful because the mortgage industry gave a lot of loans to everyone. I used to joke around and say, if you had a pulse, you can get a loan approved. And
that was true.
Yeah. And sadly, there were these, short sales and foreclosures, and the real estate market, it was almost like this light turned off. People would send their keys to a mortgage company and just leave the house because they couldn't afford it. So, interest rates change, and there's so many different dynamics that happened. But it was during this frightful time in the industry that I had been in for a couple decades that I said, gosh, it's just too hard trying to sell real estate. And you're feeling for all these families that want to, sell their home because they can't afford it, or there's these foreclosures. And I just felt it wasn't time for me to continue in that field. And so after the visit with my dad, and John and I started to talk, and with his accounting background and my sales background, we were like, you think we could do this? I was like, yeah. There weren't a lot of tequilas back then. And so we said, let's literally give it a shot. So we started going to
with salt.
Mexico, and
with salt?
No salt. I just like it straight. No salt, no lime, no training wheels. No. We would travel to to go to the different distilleries because, my dad, he could not make it in large quantities. That saying, build it and they will come. So we found a distillery that really was the right match for us. I mean, the owner said, you're as important to me as I am important to you. And that was like, what mattered. And so that's who we chose to follow the process and the recipe. And we have our own estate of agaves. There's single estate agaves maturing 8 to 12 years. So there's a technique, there's a process, there's harvesting that goes into the quality of the tequila. And it was really, truly, because we didn't have experience in the industry, a big leap of faith and a lot of work, a lot of guerrilla marketing. But I don't regret any of it, because we knew it was something we wanted to do. So making that shift from real estate to tequila, it was just the right time. So when we launched it, it was actually Cinco de Mayo 2009 that we filled our bottles in Mexico and then started self-distributing here in May of that year. So I feel like, did we do everything right? Perhaps not, but you learn from your mistakes. It's all trial and error.
Yeah.
We got this far. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you're never failing, or if you always are successful, I can't think of a reason outside of a rare event. But if you're not failing every now and then and having bumps along the road, that means you're just kind of staying still, right? You're not pushing, you're not going forward and enhancing your life and enhancing the experiences like the business here. I love this question from Kathy. Thank you very much, because we've talked about, and we haven't even got into half of it yet, I know, but we've talked about the business and why and how. But there's another unique and great thing about your business is that it's woman owned, right?
Yes. So
what are the challenges?
Well, the alcohol industry is a little bit of a male-dominated industry because there's very, very few women that have brands in the industry. But, we all, I think, in my opinion, we're equals, okay? And we all deserve a seat at the table. And so you just have to believe in yourself, stay strong. I did get the certification that it is a woman-owned minority business. Just to have that. It helps more when you're dealing with federal government buys, but I am not. However, there are women that support women. I have to say that when I'm talking to people and I say to them, because I'm still in the stores like the Snapple lady going, come on over, I've got a nice tequila for you to try. And, they come over and they think I'm just an older promo girl. And I get into everything about the tequila. I can talk tequila all day long, but at the same time, I'll say, and it's small biz, woman owned, and it's my company. And they're like, no freaking way. It's like, yeah. We'll high five. So, just let people know if you have a company that is woman owned and get certified, how that can help you. You get to use that logo. There's a lot of resources on there too. But just know that you can do what they can do, the men, because sometimes, not that we're smarter, but we think differently. And I got to say, we get things done. Yeah.
That is exactly true. We do think things differently at times, but within a space. So you're in I'm going to say some spacey words, but you're in a space where you're in that entrepreneurial spirit. And whether you're a man or a woman in that case, all you're looking to do is build on and find your niche and go that way, because your niche, I would be a total failure at. And I'm just going to leave it at that, because I'm just a dude with a message trying to get out there. It's not easy to be entrepreneurial, but you're right. I mean, that should never be an issue. And now we can get into some societal things, because that all kind of gets unpacked with our society as we build it. I think that Clayton came on late because You went into your father and Senor Rio. Well, do you mind just going back? Obviously, he wasn't here at the
not at
very
all.
beginning.
So Senor Rio, which means Mr. River, is dedicated to my father because had I not gone down to Mexico and reunited with him, there's no way I'd be in the tequila business. And so when we were deciding to bring this brand, as we called it, our baby, the birth of this baby, what are we going to call it? What are we going to call this baby? And, we muddled back and forth a few names, and it was like, Senor Rio, my dad's nickname. Let's pay homage to him. And that is the name. So Senor Rio is a name that came out of family. And it's my maiden name, Rivera. So Mr. River was a short for Rivera. So that's where it came from.
That's awesome. And the name, from a marketing standpoint, is really easy to say. I mean, that's important. I mean, it is from a marketing standpoint. It's a great name based in family, and it is a really good name to say. Easy name to say. We talked about this too, Dixon. You had worked with a specialist who is
so Carlos Ruiz is a professional mixologist. Now, back in the day, they were bartenders, but mixology has taken on a whole new level. And when I said, yeah, this is going to be paired with cocktails, and actually it was dear friend who does my website and social media, Tara, that came up with this idea. She said, yeah, you do cocktails, and the first person that came to mind was this person, Carlos Ruiz, because he knew John and I from when we first started. And so when I called him and I said, hey, Carlos, I'm writing this book and it's telling the story of Senor Rio, and I want each story to be with a cocktail. And I mean, I think you make the best cocktails ever. Do you think you're up for this? I need like 50 of them. Do you have time for this? Because he's got a family and his job, and he said, Debbie, I would be honored. And I was like, all right, we're doing this. So, awesome. It's just finding the people that are in your corner. When you have a business, you really, rely on the love and support of others. Yeah, you're doing a lot of it by yourself, but at the same time, they're helping you get through it, and they're there to inspire and lift. And really, I mean, I have so much love and support from people that I am just in awe, very humbled. Yes.
Takes a village to raise a child, as the old saying goes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that, that kicks into what we always talk about, meaning that we don't hang out with our neighbors anymore. I mean, I think COVID was the last straw because we haven't been as social. I mean, humans are a social being. So we really need to have that more common interaction and curiosity. I love this. Jeffrey, thank you a bunch. I appreciate it. Your story reminds me why perseverance matters. It's such an amazing thing. And I do want to dive in here coming up. I think we've got some questions that can go either way. Did you ever think about giving up and change your mind? Probably 1,000 times, right?
Oh, God. I'll just say this. I have to tell you, for those of you that would like to get the book, it'll be on Amazon very soon, but you can go to the website, senorrio.com. I don't know if you're going to put this stuff up, but when you read my closing,
hang on a second.
That is going to tell you I was at a point.
You ready? Hold on. I'm going to interrupt you again. I warned you I would do this here and there, but I absolutely. At some point between now and when we actually go off, so to speak, end, would you put in the private chat your contact information? I asked people to do that. I should have started out of the gate, but reason I do that is we have 400 and some people in now, but over the next months or year or whatever, inevitably I get a comment saying, hey, how do I do this? I'm like, you got to ask her. You got to ask Debbie. So if that's in there, I can send them straight to you, and it's awesome. So just
it's simple too. It's the name, senorrio.com. Easy.
Oh, Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. I might even
You can
take
get
the time
access
do
to
that.
the book. You can get access to the charity. You can get access to so much. And then you can even contact me. There's a section that says contact us, and it goes through concierge at Senor Rio. And believe it or not, I read each one of those because I am still so involved. And that's what's great about being a small business.
It is.
Yeah. You write to some of these big companies, and I guarantee, I don't know where that person is on the food chain, but it's not getting to the CEO of the company. You write to Senor Rio, you are going to get to me.
That's awesome.
And I'm happy to share. So please.
That is so cool. Great point. I mean, and it's a valid point because other companies versus smaller type companies are operated completely different and for different reasons. You got a CEO or CFO that's looking at numbers and quarterlies, and that comes in, and there's absolutely no space in the work brain for that, so to speak. And this is a good question from Olivia. And then I want to really kind of have you tell us about this charity and other works that you're doing. Olivia, thank you. How important was family? We talked about it. It's critical, right?
Yes.
Support your journey.
Oh my gosh. My daughters were single at the time. Now they're both married, and they blessed me with the 7 grandkids. But when they were living at home with me, and I'd say, I gotta go out and sell this tequila, and this place that took it, they want us to come in and do a little sampling, and it's a nightclub, and I look at the girls like, will you buy Senor Rio, girls? And so they would. My daughters literally would come out and help to support the brand, and they would constantly be like, Mom, we're proud of you. Or sometimes I would get, you're working again? Yeah, I am. Because they knew that it was important to me, and they understood, but they've always shown their love and support. So yes, and their husbands too, my son-in-laws, and then I have other family members that always give me little words of wisdom and things to pick me back up. So yeah, very important. Mm-hmm.
That is a strong village. That is a strong, I mean, the messages are important because it's like people around you who know you, and they're talking about your dreams. And then some people have the opposite, unfortunately. You're announcing, or you're excited about this new journey, and people don't want change. They don't like change. So you've got a great thing going there, right? So one other question before we start getting into the other things. I think we've kind of gone through your journey with the business. I think if we missed anything, let's definitely get back to that, because this is I told you, tequila and kids. It's awesome.
Now we'll talk about the kids. Yes.
What does legacy before? Yeah. Speaking of the kids, what does legacy mean today to you today? And I love, Adam, I love this question. The word legacy has been around, and we all know what it means.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you today after all this work?
We are living our legacy, but at the same time, what are we leaving after we're gone? Because
Exactly.
We all have an expiration date, and tomorrow's not promised. In a moment, our lives can change. And so, legacy is what we leave behind. And in my case, I look at now my descendants. I have, my daughters, I have my grandchildren. They are my legacy. But at the same time, yeah, I have this company, and I'm really passionate about it, and proud to share the story and help others along the way. But I think it's just overall having people just go, yeah, Debbie, she's all right. She's a good person. Just want to be known as a good human being, just that you care. Yeah. And that you want everybody to know that they matter. Doesn't matter where they come from. And so legacy is what you do here, but what you leave behind, in a sense. for me, it's a hard one to answer because I don't think about it that much, but it's what others will think of you when you're gone. Right now, it's just building a business and giving back and being on this ride. So it's a pretty serious question. Thank you for that. Now you've given me more to think about.
Yeah, I like it. It's something that, like you said, how do people remember you? And same in the same vein, what effect did you have on the world? This isn't a question, just for example. What effect did you have in your time on this earth? And those are legacy things that you don't know they drive you, but they do, because you have a mission, and you have fallen in love with that mission. And a little psychoanalyzing here, it sounds like. I better stop that. So anyway, I love that question, and we have it won't get off this. I told you. You guys stop it for a minute. We're having a conversation, and you guys are butting in way too much. So what future dreams do you have for Senor Rio? Oh, that's easy.
And the nonprofit.
And your
nonprofit. Okay.
And your nonprofit, exactly.
Well, Senor Rio's a boutique tequila brand. It's born out of family, love, tradition. And I brought on a business partner about 1.5 years ago, Mr. Joe Mantegna. And Joe is wonderful. He's busy shooting Criminal Minds, but when he's not, he's helping to build the brand. Because as he calls it, we're a tequila with a mission. Yeah. And so, yes, in time, we'd like to have the brand go more national, but I'm patient. Everything is, one day at a time, baby steps. And for the nonprofit, during the 16 years of having this company, I would get hit up a lot for donations. Hey, we're doing this for the dogs, or we're doing this for this, or, can you, and it was either, they would ask for a check, or they'd ask for some bottles, or maybe to have me come and do a sampling. And I would always look at John like, oh, that's such a good cause. We got to do it. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So we supported hundreds of charities. And then it was during COVID when I really wasn't out there a lot because, we were all home. And I would think about my granddaughters who have special needs. They were diagnosed with Angelman syndrome, which a lot of people don't know what that is. And I just put it like in a nutshell. It's kind of like cerebral palsy, autism, and Down syndrome wrapped into one. It's a neurological disorder. So they are 9-year-old twins. They're nonverbal, so they have to navigate the world without speaking. It's very hard. Only one is walking, the other's in the wheelchair. And so all of the everyday trials that my daughter and my son-in-law face, they live in Michigan, so I'm not in there every day, but I'll be on a flight there this week. So knowing that there's so many families that are blessed with children with special needs, it's not a bad thing. It's just that it shifts, it changes, because children are a gift. But when they have something that, has a lot of complexities, and they have to go to all these therapies, and you have these surgeries and all these things, it adds a lot of weight, and you learn a lot. So my heart was always now, okay, what can we do? I want to learn. And so We Care Crusade was formed out of my granddaughter. So I always say, We Care Crusade is a crusade that's dedicated to helping children who have special needs. And so for every bottle of tequila that we sell, we put $1 into We Care Crusade. And then during the holiday season, we pick up the phone, families are nominated, and I'll say, hi, this is Debbie, We Care Crusade. So-and-so gave me your information. I'd like to know a little bit more about your child. What can you tell me about your, let's say, son, Brad? And then they'll just start talking about their child. And you just go, well, we want to help you. And checks go in the mail. I say, just need your address. We want to send you a gift to maybe lighten your load a little bit. And they can use it any way they want, whether they're going to get, a ramp for a wheelchair. One woman, she was literally crying. Her son is blind, and he likes to play video games, and she wanted to get him a chair that would vibrate when he plays video games, or, somebody else, they said, we've never had a vacation. We can put this toward a vacation. I said, yeah, we just want to help you. So We Care Crusade is on a mission to help these families and make a small difference. So while we're putting tequila smiles on the faces of the people that like to drink Senor Rio, they're helping us put smiles on the kids that really matter in these families. And so We Care Crusade is a 501c3 dedicated to Catalina and Claudia, my granddaughters, helping these families. And I'd like to do more with it, but at the same time, it's just right now the financial support that we can give. And it really means a lot to me because the book will do the same thing. So a portion of the proceeds from the book sales will go into We Care Crusade. And however else we can get donations, we want to continue to help the families that really need it. We did our pledge for summer camp so that kids could go to summer camp that's for children with special needs. So a lot of different ways.
Yeah, and yes, a lot of different ways. And another reason to have your contact information in there because you talked about your granddaughters and having the symptoms of the three different all balled up in one, which is tough. But in that same vein, you said something that I've noticed more recently, more ever than before. When you have a special needs child or a granddaughter, that family is way better. I think in every situation, unless it's a bad situation, the special needs, that love back and forth between the children and the parent and the brothers and it's dynamic. People talk about the struggles you have with special needs children, and that's true. But you also have a special relationship that very few people ever have. And so that's one of the things that really got me interested in your full story, because it's a beautiful story. Like here, great video. It's in the video. We're live streaming. You can come back and watch the video. Come on. She's been on here before, and I remember it because I can't. Can you say her name by any chance?
Oh,
did you hear me?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Well, it's
not easy.
Antoine Gigal. Antoine Gigal.
Ooh,
I'm pronouncing it right.
That's a cool. You're way better than I ever have. That's a way cool name, though. All right, so thank you. What she said, and yeah, I've asked her a couple of times, how do you pronounce it? Like in the comments, and I've never gotten anything from. Great show, so much heart and wisdom here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was Jeff, right? Jeff, thank you very much. And then Tin Suck, thank you for bringing such powerful stories to light, and thank you for digging deeper into the story, because we need that information, and the elites have a lot more ability to look for stuff and acquire stuff and this and that. We're trying all different messages as the middle class, the great middle class, kind of comes together, because it's a more powerful moment. Do you have any closing statements? And I didn't mean to make that into a statement, but it did.
I just want to thank you for the invitation to be on your show. This is wonderful. And it's actually one of my first live podcasts, I guess.
Oh, really?
I've done some where you don't see me. It's just the voice. Not
right.
a lot. So this is pretty cool. And, I'm honored to be a part of it and your community and all that you've been through and all that you're doing. So congrats to you. I mean, we support each other.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. And true. I really enjoy doing this in the styles of communication. And you wouldn't get, people asked in the beginning, you're going to do recorded. And I'm like, the vibe's different. If you're not talking to anybody, I personally like that. And then we edit it for like you'll see some shorts from here and some what are called mid forms and short forms, and we'll send them out probably in the next couple of weeks. And there we had like what you saw coming in. We have that kind of thing going on. We edit it up and bring more people to the message and ways to contribute. I'm going to. Anything else you want to wrap up now that I took your thunder?
No. I will share something if anybody does decide to try Señor Rio Tequila and you go to Total Wine, there is a secret message in the bottle. Yeah.
Every bottle?
So, the Blanco, Reposado, and Añejo. I mean, I'll just grab one and show you. Like,
yeah.
Okay. So,
you remind me, I got to do this. I have a secret message. Ooh, that's gorgeous.
So
hey, Barbie, you see this bottle?
Very pretty.
It is.
And then the logo is from a picture of my dad in his younger years. He was somewhat of a caballero, Mexican cowboy. And so anyway, and inside the bottle, if you like turn it and you look behind the front label and then you turn it and you look behind the back label, and you have to do it like from the side angle, but there's a secret message. So I always point that out because that message is to remind us of something. Okay. And so do you guys want to know what the message is or just want to go get a bottle? I can tell you what the message is. No. Don't.
I guarantee you though, Barbie and I are going to know that message. Not too far away. I'm in Chicago. She's in California, so she's got an easier way. But go on. That's
or your listeners, they could be in states where Total Wine is. But the book, I'll just hold it up real quick because it's a coffee table style hardcover, beautiful
hardcover.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you know, and I'll just take you to the first page that I said was the good fella, right? But then I want to just show you, because it is really a lot of Jonathan in here because we started the company together, but I don't know if you can see.
Oh, he's dude.
That's
Holy cow.
When I tell people, when we met, I thought he was in the mob or something. Anyway, but it's a beautiful love story and the cocktails are killer. So if you're interested in the book, makes a nice gift too. So you asked me, I wanted to just show it. Yeah. That is very cool. Thank you.
Well, you've got a whole bunch of fans on here. I'm amazed, really. Well, I'm not amazed. No offense, guys and ladies out there. But you know, we get up to 400. We've got as many as 2,000 audience members at a peak in the different shows. But usually when you're starting to wind down, we're down to like 18 people, the diehards. Everybody else gone, yeah, I got it. Okay, I'm moving on. But I mean, literally from the very beginning, you've captivated. You have at least 439 new fans.
Okay, well, you could like my Instagram and stuff then.
Exactly.
Thank you. Really, you know, it's because of all the people that were here, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was because of you attracting all the people here. That's what it's all about.
It's your show. I'm just the prop.
Oh, I like that. Okay, prop. You go into the green room and I'll close out everybody. While you're in there, though, would you please go ahead and type in that into the private chat so that I can put it into comments like where you see here. Right? Okay.
Yeah, to be happy.
Wait, everybody. Wait, everybody.
Thank you. Salud. All of you.
Salud. Dang it. Yeah, you know what? You're making me look bad. I'm bad at that, but you're say it again.
Salud.
All right. So that was an awesome show. As everybody, look, I mean, you guys, now watch. I'm going to start talking. They're going to start dropping off. I know that's going to happen. So there you go. We've got some information. As soon as I see a explanation point on the private chat, I'll copy that over. And all you folks can get out there and take a look because, you know, first of all, tequila that you don't have a hangover the next day. Okay. You got my attention. That's for darn sure. Maybe not as much when I was back a young buck, but I was telling Debbie, right? The older you get, the harder it is to recover back off of that. So with that, guys, it looks like we're all set here. I think we've got Bernard Mark tomorrow. He's a advertising marketing. Hey, actually, Debbie, you might want to watch tomorrow's show because he's where I'm going, and he wants to talk about our messages, and so he's got millions of followers. So you know, it's an event. Look in the YouTube if you're interested. I'll plug myself. The @ Rod Duff 1939, RODDDUFF, and you know, I don't know what else to say, but with that, I'm out.
Before you leave, if you'd like to watch another one of the podcasts, click the first link in the description. We love having you here and we appreciate all your support.
And with that, producer Barbie and I are out.